here's something I'm going to say that is probably like, if you're doing podcasting for business, this is not for you. I think if you're doing podcasting as a creative outlet and to grow as a person and relationships are your ROI, then podcast for you. Love your art, love the journey, love your mess ups, love the learning.
Tired of being complacent. I done almost had it up to here with my patience.
Hey there, I'm Victoria Makanjuola, and you're listening to Feel Your Feelings, the podcast where high achievers get real about mental wellness. You feel me? Attention all passengers, now clearing the runway for growth. It's takeoff season.
Gas to the pedal, moving on. 'Cause I've been on that new vibe, living on an incline.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Host2Host series. How are you guys feeling today? And do you like my shirt? Let me show you. It says, "Music is for all." My mom got it for me. But yeah, I hope you guys are feeling good, feeling well. I have been doing good. I have been feeling a little bit anxious lately, but to be honest, I just told myself today, don't start. Do not start. You are on a roll. You have this momentum going. Do not give up. And I really have to credit the people that I follow on Instagram, like the motivational speakers, the tarot people, my YouTube family and spirit, that have just been hyping me up and motivating me to where I'm lacking, they fill my cup. So shout out to y'all. I'm super excited for you guys to meet today's guest. This episode was recorded a while back, so you'll notice my hair looked different. My hair will look different next time you see me, by the way. Okay, Gemini Moon. Reena is someone that I met at Podcast Movement 2025. We were introduced by Paula Sema. Paula Sema was the one who connected me to the opportunity to work at Podcast Movement. And I got connected with all the other track room managers there, and Reena was one of them. And she was so kind, so sweet, so supportive and engaging. And we did another podcast interview together that's on my channel. And I just really admire her confidence. I admire her straightforwardness. She's very direct. She has experience with the Jerry Springer Show and Court TV. And I love that Reena includes her dad on her podcast. And at the end, he includes his feedback on the episode and the guest. I think you'll like this episode if you're someone who is also interested in learning how to build a production that is based on a family unit and talking to influential guests and being yourself, but also bringing your expertise in. Hope you enjoy. Get into it. Yeah. I'm here with the amazing Reena Friedman Watts, host of the Better Call Daddy show. And today she's joining me from Houston, Texas. How are you feeling right now in this moment, Reena? Welcome to my show.
Thank you so much for having me, Victoria. I am caffeinated and ready.
I love that. Okay. Is it coffee? We talking soda, energy drinks?
Yeah, I had a yerba mate. I'm like totally addicted to them, and it's not as crazy to start your day with that. So
okay, very
I'm
nice.
easing into the coffee.
Very nice. I'm feeling very chill. You know, it is getting cold. I'm sitting in front of my window, so you know the cold air is coming in. You know, we're both Texas girls, so yeah, I'm in the DFW area. So shout out to Texas. So okay, yes. Let's get right into your show. It's called the Better Call Daddy show. Like, tell me more about the name. How did that come about?
Yes. The name really kind of, to me, explains what it's about. So yeah. I have a very close relationship with my dad. I feel like I'm kind of my dad's daughter. I'm the oldest of 3 daughters.
Okay.
And he's always who I call, like multiple times a day. And so I felt like he was giving me really good advice and advice that I felt others could benefit from. And so I wanted to, in the beginning, share that advice with others, you know, how to start a business. He was an entrepreneur for 40 plus years, how to take more than one customer, how to get rid of a bad customer, how to price your services, all of those things. But then also, like, other people started kind of sharing their life experiences and wisdom with us. And he was like, oh my God, like they're upping our wisdom rating.
Right.
So it's turned more of into like, hey, I'll add my 2 cents at the end of all of your episodes and kind of react to the people that you're connecting with, but also like, you know, how can we make the world a better place and all grow together?
Absolutely. Like I'm really curious to know more about the process of including your dad in the show, because at the end he brings in his wisdom to the guests that you've already had on before. Was that intentional?
Great question. So in the beginning, I was like, oh, I should totally have him like on all the interviews. But obviously, like we've done over 450 episodes. That would be very taxing. So he was like, you interview the guests, cut that down, send it to me like after, you know, it is what it's going to be. And then I'll react to that. But to be honest, I mean, it's still a huge commitment. Like my dad listens to every episode in its entirety. Like my dad has spent a lot of time like with the guests, with me in this show. It's a huge investment of time and energy.
That's
and
dedication.
He loves it. Every week he's like, who do you got for me? So the process is I'm doing the interview. I mean, my dad doesn't really have an interest in doing that part. On occasion, people have interviewed us together, but he like wants it to be my show, and then him just kind of like flavoring it and giving me that encouragement, and also giving that encouragement to the guests as well.
That's dedication. That really is dedication, and I'm sure his feedback really brings a lot of depth to your episodes, and the guests listening back like, oh wow, this is what you thought of the show. Like, you know, I think it's really all encompassing. But to the point of your show's name, there's another podcast called the Call Her Daddy podcast, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Do people ever like kind of confuse the two shows? Like, do you listen to that? Do you listen to that show, first of all?
Yes, I have listened to that show, and we came out like she wasn't even really gaining popularity until around the time I was kind of like starting. So I feel like we kind of started around the same time, and I'm like, honestly, daddy is a good like SEO word. So she doesn't own daddy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And our shows are so different. Like
she's
much more controversial and explicit and talks about things like I'm clearly not going to talk about with my father. So I feel safe there. And to be honest, I checked with a attorney first before using that term. And, you know, she's not calling her dad. So we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely more influencer celebrity focused, just from like the thumbnails, like Kim Kardashian and, you know, the big names on there. But yeah, I wanted to know if, you know, people had got those two mixed up before.
Like I get that all the time. They're like, oh my God, I heard about your show on the news. I was like, no, but yeah, check it out anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm probably getting her run off traffic, and that's totally fine. Because when you search for daddy, they both come up together. So I'm like, hey, maybe somebody searching for her might come to me, or somebody searching for me might go to her. But I don't think that's a bad thing really either way.
Not exactly. Do you have any favorite episodes so far from your show?
From my show? Oh gosh, so many. But what I always say is like, I feel like you're as good as your last episode. So
I believe that. Truly believe that. Yeah.
You're constantly evolving. I mean, getting to interview Jerry Springer, which is episode number 210, was like monumental for me.
May he rest in peace.
That's where my career started. Yes, thank you. Yeah. That one is just one I hold dear. I've obviously come a long way since then, because that was 2022, like right before he passed. But, you know, I met someone recently at a co-working space here in Houston, and she was there with a friend of mine, and she was like, yeah, I was undocumented in the US for 22 years. I got trafficked here from Venezuela, and I learned English speaking, you know, watching Jerry Springer. I was like, what? We need to record like right now. Like,
for sure. No, that's wild.
So totally wild. Stories are all around you. As soon as you disclose to people that you worked for the Springer Show, those stories just continue to find me.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of that, and that was one of the first things when we first met, and I heard about your experience on there. I'm like, wow, she is so cool, like having a close-up experience, you know, with Jerry Springer in his show. I know on your show, you're very open about talking to people and storytelling and really bringing people's stories to life. I'm wondering more about your process. How do you go about choosing guests, and are there any limits to the topics that you talk about?
That's a great question. To be honest, now I get reached out to so much that like I recently told someone who wanted to come back on, I was just like, thank you so much for wanting to be honest. But I have like a 6 to 9 month backlog. Like I'm getting ready to air one this week just to kind of like wrap up the end of last year that I recorded almost a year ago. I air stuff out of order. I had a guy that I'd been connected to since before I launched the podcast. He just landed in Houston last week and did his first TED Talk after trying like 5 or 6 times. And he was like, Reena, I'm in town. You know, I knew you before Better Call Daddy.
I saw that on your Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, God, this guy has been like a dedicated listener.
Yes.
Like, he was like, I only listen to your podcast. I was like, okay, dude, like you qualify. Like, you know,
That's like the top 2%, 2%. That's really cool.
Yeah, like to be honest, I have to say, I give priority to people like that. I had another girl that reached out to me at the end of last year and she's like, I listened to 17 hours of your podcast last year and Spotify just showed me. I was like, all right, let's have a call.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you want to give priority to people who continue to resonate with you, like have followed you for years versus somebody who's just cold pitching you and you're like, okay, that sounds interesting. But after I have them on my show, I'm like literally never going to hear from them again.
Exactly. I agree. Like the last person that I talked to for my Host2Host series, he's been following my Instagram page from like the early days, right? And like all my content, he engages with it. He sends me supportive messages. And like in this season, I'm really just trying to like show love to the people that show me love too. Because I think that's so important that we can really miss that sometimes and really kind of dismiss it. But I think it's really important to acknowledge the people that keep showing up for us, even if it was like long time ago, you know? So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, people feel that. People can feel that you have real relationships with people. So I try to intermix it. Like I do take some publicist pitches if I feel they're relevant or if I feel like they've actually like listened to the show.
How do you politely like decline though if someone is really pitching themselves? Because I've had that happen to me early on too, before I like changed up my format and really tried to like niche it down. How do you say no? Because like I think I kind of left things open ended, you know, with some people. So yeah, how do you kind of like close that loophole?
I mean, it depends how many freaking ChatGPT messages they send me. If they send me like 4 or 5, I might even say something like, what's their daddy story?
Right.
Like,
I know, like, it can be overwhelming, I think, having that many.
They're lucky
people,
to get that. I mean, to be honest, like, you can tell that it's just a drip campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that it's just an automated sequence. Mm-hmm. Especially if they're just like, hey, comma, and then spew everything about themselves and they don't even say your name, or they say, hey, Better Call Daddy podcast. They don't even say, hey, Reena.
We can tell. We can tell. I work with AI. That is my job outside of this. So I could definitely tell. But if you're going to use it to help you build a story or a message to someone that is like really something that you want to say, but you just don't really know how to pitch yourself. You know, I think that's a helpful way of doing it than just kind of being like, hi, I want to be on your show. You know, it's just like, okay, who are you? So yeah, anyways.
I think they do better like asking a question, like even what you just did. I think they would do better, these publicists, if they reached out and they were like, hey, what kind of guests are you looking for? I came across your podcast and here's how I discovered it. I represent some clients that might fit. Can we have a conversation? But it's never that. They don't even want to talk to you. They just want to spam you.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to navigate the people that pitch to me, and even me pitching myself to other platforms and other podcasters. I feel like I need to have my message set up, and I actually reached out for this season. I reached back out to a guest who pitched herself to me. She's a musician based in Nashville. She pitched herself to me 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And this was around the time I was getting ready to go to grad school and move to California from Texas. And I just had a lot going on. And I kept like rescheduling and putting off. And I was looking back through my emails and it was so cringy. So I emailed her yesterday and I was like, please forgive me for my inconsistency. But I'd really love to have you on my show because I feel like your voice would fit with my theme and talking to, you know, high achievers and artists and athletes and authors. So we'll see what she says. But I did do the circle back because I felt it was a better time and it was more intentional this time. So yeah.
Look, we all evolve in our journeys, and I have also sent cringeworthy messages. And one thing now is like, even if somebody made you an introduction that you kind of like let sit in your inbox too long, I just respond like they just reached out. I wouldn't have even apologized. I would have just said, you know, I came across this email and would love to have a conversation about it now.
Right. Yeah. We will see what she says. I'm going to keep you posted. So fingers crossed, because I would love to have her on. Okay. So speaking of, you know, guests, do you have any dream guests for your show?
Roseanne Barr. I just
Roseanne
watched
Barr?
Kill Tony last night.
Okay.
Oh my God. I don't know if you watched Kill Tony, but
No, I haven't.
wow.
I haven't. What is that?
So Kill Tony does like a live comedy show out of Austin.
Okay.
And Austin, Texas. And people like wait in line for hours, and they submit like week after week. And it's a mix of early comics and then seasoned comics. And he pulls names out of a bucket and he gives them like a minute in front of his audience, which is very well established, to try their new sets every week. Oh my God. And she's one of the celebrity judges. I just love her because when somebody's got it, she tells them. But when somebody sucks, she also tells them. You know, whether you agree with her politically or not, I just think she is an absolute genius. I saw her live. She didn't even need a warm-up act. The chick is like in her 70s. She's like my dad's age. And she can keep it going for like an hour straight. I love her. She's a dream guest to me now. She's crazy.
Fingers crossed that you get your dream guest on your show. I'm also putting the work in to make sure I get my dream guest as well. I am working on reaching out to people that I'm scared to talk to. And one of those people is, his name is Robert Cool Bell. He's like the co-founder of Kool and the Gang. So I reached out to him. You can't have a successful launch if the pilot is burnt out. That's why I'm raising awareness for NAMI this season to make sure our mental wellness is cleared for takeoff. If you want to partner with me or support this podcast, please send me an email at the FYFZPodcast@outlook.com. Join the crew. So I also want to talk about your show. It's like a production. In the beginning, the theme song, I hear your dad's voice. I hear some kids' voices. Like, tell me about who helps you produce the show besides yourself being like the lovely host you are. Is there a team that you have that helps you with the production of Better Call Daddy?
I do have some like VA assistants that I work with, editors that I have worked with. My intro has evolved since I started, because I started like around the pandemic like everyone else. And
Me too.
My kids were a lot smaller, you know, because I've been doing it now over 5 years. So
Wow.
I was even recently thinking like, should I update my kids' voices? You know, should I change that? I love them. Like, I feel attached to that part.
It's hard to say, because it definitely feels like a family production, and it feels just so authentic and cool, kind of like the beginning of a TV show, you know? So that's completely up to you. But I really like the energy that you brought into that, and the theme music too, and like the artwork, which I also am curious to know, like, how did that come about, your artwork for the show? Because you have the animated you and the animated version of your dad, and you know, how did that come about?
I hired a friend for that. Yeah, she was a
Cool.
mompreneur that had gotten laid off during the pandemic, and she's worked with, you know, celebrities, and I think she was working for Red Bull at the time. And yeah, I had her character, me, my dad, my mom, my children, my husband. So there's like different variations of all of us. And yeah, her idea was having my dad come out of the phone like genie in a bottle.
Yeah.
So it was like, I call my dad.
She did.
Yeah, and he pops out of the phone.
She did great. I think it works. It works really well. It works really
Thank
well visually.
you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's memorable and I'm attached to it. And I just have that same artwork on all of my episodes. Although a friend of mine, Crash from the Crash and Burn podcast, just made me a new AI art of me and my dad. And I thought that could be fun to maybe upgrade to. And you know, people are so sweet. They've come up with song ideas. I had a guy on my show. His name was, what was his name? Lowry Olafson, I think was his last name. And he creates songs, jingles for companies. And so I collaborated with him. We wrote the lyrics. He asked me like, who are a couple artists that you love their style music? And I had actually said the song What's Going On that came back with Linda Perry.
Okay.
You know that song that everybody's like remixing now?
What's
going on?
The first
bees
one?
in the trap. Bees in the trap. So
I've heard of that one. I was thinking of Marvin Gaye at first. I'm old school.
I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath. Yeah. So
and
Better Call Daddy
Mm-hmm.
kind of had that kind of melody. I like wanted it to be like that. And yeah, so I wrote the lyrics and we kind of came up with a jingle that was with that kind of theme. And I feel so attached to it. I have had some feedback of people saying, you know, your intro is a little long. And I'm like, skip button, dude. Like 2026.
Right.
Hit the skip button. Get into the interview if that's the part you want to hear. But like you said, I'm attached to my kids' voices. I'm attached to my art. I still love the jingle. My dad loves the jingle. And you know what? Here's something I'm going to say that is probably like, if you're doing podcasting for business, this is not for you. I think if you're doing podcasting as a creative outlet and to grow as a person and relationships are your ROI, then podcast for you. Love your art, love the journey, love your mess ups, love the learning.
Absolutely.
And don't let people change the art that you're making.
Absolutely. My last season was called Messy, and I decided to do a open call for official podcast jingle for my show, and I didn't hear back from anyone except for one person that I reached out to who I remembered following from a while ago, and I sent it directly to her, and she's an artist now going to Berklee School of Music, and she had a whole track that she sent me, and I was like, I could use this track. What? So I ended up paying the artist as well to use their song, but it worked out, and like her song literally fit like my vibe. It fits the vibe of my show, and love that. So I'm really glad that we were both able to find, you know, our theme and like what works for us in our show, because that could be such a tedious process for people in the beginning. Definitely not something to like focus on, like, oh, I have to have a theme song, but like I'm glad that I came to that now, because coming up I was kind of scrambling, like I'll use AI, I'll do this. But going back to people that want to get into podcasting, like, what's one thing that you wished someone had told you before you launched your show?
Oh, that's such a good question. So many things.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm totally embarrassed of now is, you know, an editor that I was working with told me to re-record some of my questions over. Because in the beginning, you do not know your format. You know, you're just having conversations and you're kind of seeing where the story unfolds, and you're not very formulaic yet. And I was interviewing friends from college and people that I had worked with on different projects that I wanted to keep in touch with. And your conversation is all over the place.
All over.
All over the place. And she's like, re-record sound bites, re-record questions. And let me tell you something, you can hear that. It sounds like it. Mm-hmm. And a part of me now just wants to honestly like go back and just re-upload the raw, completely unedited. And I feel like that would sound better than the choppy mess I put out there.
Yeah.
So I would say now maybe have more of a game plan going in. But to be honest, you're not going to get comfortable on the mic if you're just reading a script. And if you're trying to be formulaic, it's such a process of just figuring it out along the way.
I would have to piggyback off of that and say to stay cringy, because the only way that you can learn from your mistakes or things that you want to improve on is to just put it out there. And if it is cringy, then it is what it is. You learned from it. I can't really go back and watch some of my early content because I hated the way I sounded. I didn't like how my setup looked or my lighting or how I looked or was, dressed or whatever. But it's a learning process, and like here I am getting better. So yeah, I think that's
You're
very
so
helpful.
good. I've had some recent cringe moments. So, I've rented studios around Houston, and that can look amazing lighting wise and sounding wise and be
Professional
good for
studio.
client interviews. Yes, professional studios. But then I was like, oh my God, the library literally has a Rodecaster and Rode mics and 4K cameras, and you can sign up and use their stuff.
Use
and
what
so
you
I was
have.
like, yeah, use what you have. So I started going to the library, but the thing is different locations have different setups. So
Yes.
one location was not enclosed, and then somebody started like an embroidery session right in the middle of my recording, or somebody flipped on the music, or somebody came by and was having a conversation way too close to where I was recording, and you can't like stop your interview of like an amazing moment with somebody getting vulnerable and be like, hey, can you stop making that t-shirt?
Yeah. I think also like another question is where do you feel most comfortable recording? And to that, I was also going to say to not compare yourself to people that have studios or professional lighting or different environments, because that might not work for you. I was thinking early on, should I record outside? Should I be in a professional setting? I'm just in my room.
Me too, girl.
I'm just in my room. So do you have environments where you feel, I guess, the most comfortable to record?
I feel very comfortable in my room. I also feel comfortable in a studio if it's just like me and one other, or me and maybe two other. But to be honest, like even when I was watching Kill Tony last night, I was like, holy mackerel.
Yeah.
Like if I were in front of a stadium of 15,000 people, I would be very uncomfortable. Like
too.
I prefer a radio type setting. And that's why I started podcasting, to get better at speaking, to get better at communicating with people, to get better at storytelling. So you have to kind of think about that. Like I do not honestly crave the stage. And when I record like we're doing right now, I can't tell that there's hundreds of people listening. And so I feel like I can be myself easier.
Do you do live shows or live streaming?
I have done live streaming, and I have been a part of Podcast Row at different events here in Houston. But again, people are walking by, they're not paying attention. You feel still kind of one-on-one. People might stop and like look or inquire after, but it doesn't feel like there's a huge audience. I love that. And I also think that people are more forgiving about background noise if you say, hey, I'm interviewing this person live. We're connecting in person.
Yeah. I enjoy the editing process. So I like a pre-recorded format personally. Live, I've done Instagram live. I don't know if that like really counts, but that
Yeah, it
made
does.
that my anxiety was I had to use one of those squeezy toys the whole time, because I was just like, when people popped up and were commenting, I just felt like the need to respond to each person. So that felt very stressful for me, but I love editing. I love going back and adjusting things and adding text and captions and putting in my sponsor part right there. I like that personally.
That's great. That probably, I would say, makes you a better podcaster, because a lot of people outsource that. And then do they ever go back and listen to themselves? Do they ever really understand that it could be cut together differently? I love CapCut. I've been playing with that a lot recently. And
I was just going to ask, do you have a favorite editing or platform that you use to like post and edit and use, like that's just like up your alley? That's like this platform.
I mean, so many, but lately I've been having so much fun with templates. And to be honest, for me, I think that, these podcasting clips where you like pull a moment from your conversation, like every podcaster thinks you have to do that. But you know what's even more fun and what gets more engagement? The behind the scenes shots of a podcaster getting in your car, or a podcaster coming to town and giving a TEDx, and you're like having coffee with people want that. Honestly, I have noticed more than the podcasting clips. So what I've been doing is kind of like intermixing, like, okay, here's a good moment from our conversation, but also he got into my car, or he was giving a TEDx, or, you know, you and I met at Podcast Movement and we have shots together of us there. So I think, you know, if you love editing, throw in a shot of us in real life. And also mention that that's how we connected and who we know in common. Like Paula Sema, shout out Paula.
Shout out Paula.
She's like, you know, she brought us together.
Yeah.
So that's like a little finesse is like, take, you know, a selfie shot that we've done together, drop it into CapCut or InShot or Cast Clip or one of these AI tools, and find a motivational quote, drop in some music, and show you guys have met each other in real life. You guys vibe together. You're both podcasters. You both are Texans. You're both high achievers. Find another way to present the same information.
I'm soaking this all in. Trust me. And I love that part of podcasting, or what I do is just going back and like discovering those gems, even if it's in old episodes, which I do still cringe at, but I'll find gems in it and I'll be like, wait, that was actually really useful that I could use now, that I kind of like forgot about back then. I'm curious if you heard about the new the Golden Globes category. They have a podcasting category, which I was watching.
I had a couple
the other
people
day.
like, yes, send me that, and also like
awesome.
tag me in it. Wow. I mean, wouldn't that be crazy?
That's awesome. I'm like, okay, like, I mean, I think Amy Poehler won for her show, which is like, it's so cool, but it gives me hope. It really gives me hope for the future of like, okay, like we could do this, you know, you don't have to be famous to enter, I hope, but yeah, there's hope that one day, you know, we could make it to the Golden Globes and get nominated for best
also
podcast.
like there aren't that many women podcasters, and a lot of people quit. A lot of people quit because it's so much work that people don't realize. So if you just don't quit and you have a unique angle and you keep growing, you're in the running at least.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. And I hope to see you there at the red
Heck
carpet.
yeah, girl. See you at the top.
See you at the top. Okay. What is one thing that, because this is takeoff season. This is my takeoff season. Last season was messy. What's one thing that you're currently working on or launching that you want my audience to know about?
Oh, that's a nice question. Well, one opportunity that recently presented itself, and he was a former guest on my show. His name is David Hirsch, and he is writing a book for dads that have special needs children.
Okay. Nice.
And I'm helping him with his book tour. He is going to all 50 states. He's going to 64 cities.
When does the book drop?
It is dropping around Father's Day in June.
Okay.
So about 5 months from now. And I'm going to be kind of his behind the scenes coordinator of helping him set up all of those stops along the way and document his social media, which I love. You know, his first post last week was, I feel like, one of his most engaged posts. I was like, first off, show all of the book covers of like what you're considering,
right,
and kind of like get audience feedback. Which one do you like? Which color do you like? Which style do you like? Should I mix the styles?
Yes.
I think also that very much applies to podcasting. Is like, if you're switching your art, which do you like better? Which color do you like better? Should I have a picture of myself? Should I not have a picture of myself? I have a Facebook group. It's not even called Better Call Daddy. It's called Business Laughs on LinkedIn.
Okay.
You should join it.
Okay.
It's free. I have
Send
about
it over.
800 people in there. Yeah. I've had that group the entire time of my podcast. So after my podcast, you know, if you actually want to keep in touch and not just come on my show and then never speak to me again, you can join my Facebook group. And I bounce a lot of ideas off of people in there. Where if I want to talk about, like today, you were saying that sometimes you repurpose old clips. So
Yeah.
Crash from Crash and Burn podcast made me a graphic. So in return, I was like, I'll pull another clip from our show together. And the clip I pulled was about, you know, your parents still treating you like children, even in your 30s and 40s. So I shared that and I'm like, do your parents still do this to you? Because I feel like every time I go home, I feel like I'm in 5th grade all over again.
Can relate. It's a little touchy, but
But
I
yeah,
can relate,
so
yeah.
if it's like if you're having an idea for a podcast topic, you can bounce them off of your crew or your people or your tribe or the people that have come on your show. So you need a place for your people to gather, whether you make, a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group or a Clubhouse room or, I don't know, an Instagram group. You need to have a place, an email list, wherever your people gather, LinkedIn group. Have a group where, the majority of your people after they're on your show can come for free to still talk to you and still interact.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's something that I am looking to set up with my show as well, and not really knowing where to start. I was thinking of doing a broadcast channel on Instagram, but for some reason mine isn't it doesn't have that option on there. But I went to your website. You have a beautiful website, and you have the sponsors listed, and it's so organized. And that's something that I'm striving to do with my show.
I need to update it. Thank you.
It looks great.
It's a constant, just like your podcast, a constant work of art. Yeah. And I have to say that I won a contest on Namecheap. So they are my host.
Shout out.
And shout out to Namecheap. I love them. I love Namecheap. I love Headliner app. These are some of the brands and tools that are my backbone. But Namecheap helped me design that website. And they have a contest coming up, actually. So if you have a idea, a business idea, and you want to launch a new website, check out Namecheap. They have a $10,000 contest going on through March.
Awesome. Well, before we close, I just want to say thank you for putting me on to incredible opportunities and for staying in touch after we met at Podcast Movement. So again, supporting people and showing love to people that also show love back to me. So I just want to say thank you so much for your constant support and communication and love. And I really appreciate that. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
You are an amazing host. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And I got to have you on, and you can... Tell me your daddy story.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm down. I am down. Where can my listeners find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on pretty much all social at Reena Friedman Watts, or that website that you were talking about, bettercalldaddy.com.
Better Call Daddy. Not call her daddy. Better Call Daddy.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
And for those listening, don't forget to be a high achiever. You feel me? Bye.